I didn't realize you were waiting on me. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the West Central Ohio Regional Finals of Poetry Out Loud. Poetry Out Loud is a national competition put on by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. The NEA and Poetry Out Loud then work with state partners such as the Ohio Arts Council, who chooses the regional partners for these finals. Piqua Arts Council is joined by the Massillon, I was not sure if I was pronouncing that correctly, Museum, the Thurber House, Stewart's Opera House, Mount Healthy Alliance, and Marathon Center for the Performing Arts in presenting these regional finals. A few friendly reminders before we begin. Please silence your cell phones. There are professional videographers and photographers for this competition, and all the photos and video will be shared with the teachers. In the case of an emergency, please exit the theater through the doors in the rear, make a right and exit the building. Restrooms are in the hallway on the left once you take a left out of the theater. The general overview of the competition is that the students will recite one poem in each round. The order was determined using a random number generator and will stay the same for each round. 4 of our judges will score the poems on 5 areas: physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, evidence of understanding, and overall performance. Our 5th judge is our accuracy judge. Their score is added to each of the performance judges' scores for a total of 41 possible points per round. All our participating students are already winners. Students must first win a school competition before coming to our regional finals. The top 2 students from tonight will move on to the state finals on Friday, February 9th at 6 p.m. in Columbus at WOSU Studio. Our competition is hosted tonight by the Piqua Arts Council. Formed in 1993, Piqua Arts Council is dedicated to making the arts accessible to the community through presentation, support, and education. I'd like to welcome Piqua Arts Council Executive Director Jordan Number to the stage to share a few comments.
Clapping for me, or are you clapping for her? Because I haven't done anything.
It was definitely for me.
Yeah, well, she knows how to read, so that's a positive, right? Like, it's always good when you start with somebody who can read. I can't. I only do math. I don't know how to read, so we're gonna struggle here. But no, really, honestly, thank you all for coming out and supporting these amazing students. As Jamie mentioned, they're all already winners. They have to win a school competition before they can come here and compete in our regional finals. When Piqua Arts Council was asked to host the regional finals a few years ago, we didn't know exactly what we were getting into. This quickly became one of my favorite programs to be involved with. The student recitations that first year were so beyond anything I could have imagined, and every year the students never failed to disappoint. I used this quote last year, so if you were here last year, it's going to be the same one, but in his book, Dead Poets Society, N.H. Kleinbaum had teacher John Keating say, "Avoid using the word very because it's lazy. A man is not very tired, he's exhausted. Don't use very sad, use morose. Language was invented for one reason, boys, to woo women." And in that endeavor, laziness will not do. Now, I don't know that I think that's entirely accurate, as our poets in the back may side with me on that, or maybe not. Maybe that's how they ended up with their wives. But I do believe it illustrates a beautiful point about poetry and language. Poetry is meant to be read and felt, to connect to our emotions and deepen our understanding of the shared experience of life. We're gathered here tonight to celebrate those that attempted and succeeded in not being lazy with their words. Of course, none of this would be possible without our state partner, Ohio Arts Council, their executive director, Donna Collins, and arts learning coordinator and state Poetry Out Loud coordinator, Chiquita Mullins-Lee. We'll hear from her later. A special thank you goes out to our gift bag sponsors, Elite, etc., J and Mary's Bookstore, Scott's Family McDonald's, Winans Chocolates and Coffee, Laser Web Dayton, and Buffalo Wings and Rings. Each student will be presented with a bag that's filled with a whole bunch of goodies from all of those organizations and more. And also, tonight we found out, Jamie donated a vinyl album to everybody that is performing tonight as well. All right, I'm done. Back to Jamie to introduce our judges. If the judges want to start making their way up here, we would appreciate it.
And I would like to reiterate the fact that this man does love this event very much. I can attest to how much work and love and heart he puts into this event. He absolutely loves having all of you. Thank you so much for coming here tonight and for supporting these young artists. It means everything, I'm sure, to them and also to us as a community. I know how much thought and preparation Jordan puts into choosing the people that he has up here. I can sing in front of anybody. I'm not a big public speaker, so I'm just gonna apologize for that right off the bat. But there are some people who are incredible artists who are here, and they are judging tonight. Our performance judges for the evening are David Lee Garrison, Herbert Martin, and the nautical theme, Tesha Mallory and Matt Shetler. David Lee Garrison, a retired Wright State professor of Spanish and Portuguese. David Garrison's poems and translations have been published widely, read by Garrison Kyler on the Writer's Almanac, and featured by Poet Laureate Ted Kuser in his blog, American Life and Poetry. Named Ohio Poet of the Year in 2014, his most recent book is Light in the River, Dos Madres Press. Thank you for being here. Herbert Martin, a Southerner by birth and a Northerner by education, me too. Herbert Martin moved from Birmingham, Alabama to Toledo, Ohio before attending the University of Toledo. His teaching career started at Aquinas College in Grand Rapids, Michigan, before continuing his own education and receiving a graduate degree in literature and creative writing at the University of Dayton. His scholarly work has concentrated on Paul Laurence Dunbar and his poetry. After publishing 11 poetry books, his more recent works still focus on the African American community, including the Black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and a libretti in memory of George Floyd. Thank you, sir, for being here. Next, we have Tesha Mallory. Am I saying your name right? Tesha Mallory. Okay, I want to make sure. Has been performing, writing, and arranging music for over 20 years. She is a classically trained singer and vocal teacher, skilled in a wide variety of genres. Throughout her musical career, she has played in a wide variety of venues all over the United States, most noteworthy being a private concert for President and First Lady Obama at the White House with the Jeremy Winston Chorale in 2012. Tasha is excited about music and the arts as a way for self-expression and overall well-being. In her spare time, she likes to hang out with her family and play music. Thank you for being here, Tasha. And last but certainly not least, we have Matt Shetler. Matt Shetler has been writing, performing, and recording original music for over 27 years. This music has always featured Shetler's lyrics, which primarily focus on the human experience through an introspective lens. Performances have taken him through 19 states, from coffee shops to concert halls, front porches to amphitheaters. He has been half of the harmony-driven modern folk duo, The Nautical Theme, Joyously, since 2017. One of the most important things Matt seeks to achieve through writing music is a clear expression of his own thoughts, observations, and emotions. It is always his hope that a broad audience can find their own interpretation and resonance with the words and songs. Matt is a longtime Dayton, Ohio resident, holds degrees in graphic design and marketing, and is a devoted father and husband, and enjoys art across many mediums. Together, Tesha and Matt make up the Nautical Theme, a modern folk duo from Dayton, Ohio. Formed in 2017, the duo loves to write, record, platform, and make connections with their original music. Thank you both for being here. And now, let's meet our contestants. Performing in the order we have, Kira Cantrell, stand up wherever you are, Kira. From Piqua High School. Savannah Bauman, where are you, Savannah? Thank you so much for listening. From Christian Academy Schools. Matthias Basto, from Chaminade Julian Catholic High School. And William Chadwick from Arcanum High School. And finally, Kuda Luxi from Xenia High School. At Piqua Arts Council, we want the students to know that their judges are rock stars in their respective fields. So as part of the competition, each of our judges takes a turn performing for the students. First up will be David Lee Garrison. Okay. They've taken over the show and they've turned it into a duo. I love it.
Oh, yeah, I can use that. I'll use this mic and you use that one. What? Yeah, sure.
None of the people that I studied with would have allowed me to venture on this stage at the age that I am at this point, so I'm going to clear my throat and hope for the best. Louder?
Can you hear me? Okay. I have Herb up here because he's going to help me read this poem. It's my poem, but in lines 3 and 4, it calls for someone to sing. And Herb has a beautiful tenor voice, and he's going to do the singing, which I assure you is much better than mine. He's going to sing a few lines of the old hymn, "Shall We Gather at the River." The poem I'm going to read is about my grandmother, who was steeped in the Southern Baptist tradition, and eventually, I would have to say, kind of moved beyond it, as you'll see in the poem. But I'm going to start out, and then Herb's going to sing a few lines, and then I'll finish the poem. The poem is called "Folding Tables and 5-Card Stud." Gospel hour on the radio, and my grandmother joined in on
Shall we gather by the river, where bright angels' feet have trod? Still we'll see the crystal shadow flowing by the throne of God, flowing by the throne of God.
Then she told me about Sunday mornings when the congregation was haunted by that cry from the pulpit, "Where will you spend eternity?" About camp meetings where they barked Satan up a tree, and people who got saved or healed would tremble for days on end. About river baptisms with the preacher holding one arm and a deacon the other because the current was so swift that converts had been known to slip from reach and drown. She joked that Baptists never make love standing up because it's too much like dancing. And she confided that Brother Feldhaus always called a card table a folding table because he didn't want his flock getting any ideas. Sometimes before Granny dealt the first hand of the evening, she would ask the whole family to please rise and sing our invitation hymn, Just As I Am. After the first few lines, the only ones we knew, she would say, Amen, brothers and sisters. Now ante up. The game is 5-card stud. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I asked him if he was sure that wasn't about my grandmother as well. Our first competitor of the evening will be Kira Cantrell. Make your way up here, please. A junior at Piqua High School in Piqua. Kira will be reciting And If I Did, What Then by George Gascoigne. George Gascoigne was an English poet and playwright who served as an almoner at Elizabeth I's coronation. His first play, Supposes, is thought to have inspired Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew.
And If I Did, What Then? By George Gascoigne. And if I did, what then? Are you aggrieved therefore? The sea hath fish for every man, and what would you have more? Thus did my mistress once amaze my mind with doubt, and popped a question for the nonce, to beat my brains about. Whereto I thus replied, each fisherman can wish that all the seas at every tide were his alone to fish. And so did I, in vain. But since it may not be, let such fish there as find the gain, and leave the loss for me. And with such luck and loss, I will content myself, till tides of turning time may toss such fishers on the shelf. And when they stick on sands, that every man may see, then I will laugh and clap my hands, as they do now at me.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, now I do have a few questions for you, just to kind of let everyone get to know a little bit about yourself. What is your favorite subject in school? You know, it's just casual, whatever.
My favorite subject is probably actually my English class.
Okay, very, very cool. And what made you want to do this competition?
Reciting poetry for me has always been a really good way to express my emotions, and it just felt like a really good opportunity to do that.
I love that, absolutely. Let's give another hand for Kira. You're free to go now. She's like, are you sure? Because you dragged me back up here the last time. Our next competitor is Savannah Bauman. Savannah, am I saying your last name correctly? I knew I wasn't, because you told me last year. What is it? Bachman. Savannah Bachman, everyone. So Savannah is a junior from Christian Academy Schools in Sydney. You can make your way up here and adjust your microphone while I'm doing this if you'd like. She will be reciting Work Without Hope, a poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Coleridge was an English poet known for his vast imagination, going as far to distinguish the types of imagination in his work. How am I saying this? Biography. What is it? Biographia? Do not take this. I mean, I feel like you are recording me saying that, but I'm just going to butcher that, so I'm not going to say it. His poems are particularly known for their vivid imagery. Let's give a round of applause for Savannah.
Work Without Hope,
by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. All nature seems at work. Slugs leave their lair, the bees are stirring, birds are on the wing, and winter, slumbering in the open air, wears on his smiling face a dream of spring, and I the while, the sole unbusy thing, nor honey make, nor pair, nor build, nor sing. Yet well I ken the banks where amaranths blow, have traced the fount whence streams of nectar flow. Bloom, O ye amaranths, bloom for whom ye may, for me ye bloom not, glide rich streams away. With lips unbrightened, wreathless brow I stroll, and would you learn the spells that drowse my soul? Work without hope draws nectar in a sieve, and hope without an object cannot live.
So what made you want to do this competition?
Not really sure.
I get that. That's totally valid.
So our school actually first started doing it last year, and I did it last year. I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. I want to do it again.
Still the job again this year. Wonderful. Well, what do you love most about poetry?
I think I love the emotion that can really come through with it, and how sometimes just saying a sentence, you can't get that same emotion that you really get when it comes to like poetry. It's almost like a song.
Absolutely, I love that. One more round of applause for Savannah. Our third competitor for the evening is Matthias, got it, a junior at Chaminade Julian Catholic High School in Dayton. Matthias's first poem, Listening in Deep Space, is by Diane Thiel. Many of Thiel's early poems focus on her German heritage and the lineage of trauma brought on by war and violence. She has since taught creative writing and literature courses at multiple universities. Let's welcome Matthias.
Listening in Deep Space by Diane Thiel. We've always been out looking for answers, telling stories about ourselves, searching for connection. Choosing to send out Stravinsky and whale song, which, in translation, might very well be our undoing instead of a welcome. We launch satellites, probes, telescopes unfolding like origami, navigating geomagnetic storms, major disruptions. Rovers with spirit and perseverance mapping the unknown. We listen through large arrays adjusted eagerly to hear the news that we are not alone. Considering the history at home, in houses, across continents, oceans, even in quests armed with good intentions. What one seeker has done to another, what will we do when we find each other?
So tell me what you love about poetry.
Okay, so poetry for me, I'm a musician. I play in the band, I play both marching and concert, and I've been a singer since the second grade. So poetry, to me, the way I really connect with it is really through music. Lyrics are poetry, you know, they move in music, and it's something that's still tied to the music basis I've had since I was younger.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what made you want to do this particular competition?
So, originally, I was asked to compete in Poetry Out Loud in my freshman year, but unfortunately I wasn't able to because of sickness. And so Having the opportunity this year to compete both at my school and then now here, I said, you know what, why not? Try something new.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad you did because that was incredible. Thank you. Let's give one more round of applause for you. Last but not least, we have Huda Luxi, a junior at Xenia High School at Xenia. They even numbered my cue cards, you guys, and I just, William, where are you, William? Here he is, see, didn't miss a beat. Going fourth tonight is William Chadwick, a senior at Arcanum High School in Arcanum. His first poem of the night is Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. Since 1865, children and adults alike have fallen in love with the madness of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. His nonsense poetry and invented languages carry the same spirit of fantastic landscapes, animals, and heroes. Let's welcome William to the stage, please.
Jabberwocky, Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the bargoes, and the mome-raths outgrave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree and stood a while in thought. And, as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2. And through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, callooh, callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the bargoes, and the mome-raths outgrave.
Wonderful job, and I love your choice because my daughter's name is Alice, and this was one of the poems that kind of brought me to poetry and loving poetry. And I'm interested, what do you love most about poetry? Is there any particular poem that kind of brought you to a love of poetry?
Poetry, to me, it's a conduit for emotions. In the world that we live in, the world dominated by technology and moving and business and machinery, poetry allows us an escape, a way out, a way to deliver emotion into an emotionless life. That's what I love the most about poetry. It gives me the option to feel.
I love that. And what made you want to do this competition tonight?
Well, what made me want to do the competition? Well, I have one person to thank for that. Thank you, Mrs. Kuvander. Hi, Mrs. Kuvander. Give a small round of applause for Mrs. Kuvander. Best English teacher I've ever had, period. And this, I feel, I want to make her proud. That's why
Thank you so much, William. Let's give a round of applause for William. And I agree, we should definitely give a round of applause to all of the teachers here tonight who inspired their students to do this. And now, last but not least, we have Huda Luxi, a junior at Xenia High School. Huda's first poem is Invisible Children by Mariana Llanos. Llanos is a Peruvian-born writer based in Oklahoma. After publishing multiple children's books in English and Spanish, she found her passion in hosting virtual teaching sessions with schools to promote her love of reading and cultural understanding.
Invisible Children by Mariana Llanos. Invisible children fall through the cracks of the system like Alice in the rabbit hole. But these children won't find an eat me cake or a drink me bottle. They won't wake up on the lap of a loving sister. They'll open their eyes on the hand of a monster called negligence, who will poke them with its sharp teeth and bait them with its heartless laughter like a wild thing in a wild rumpus. But the children won't awake to the smell of a warm supper, nor will they find a purple crayon to draw an escape door or a window. Instead, they'll make a mirror of a murky puddle on the city street, which won't tell them they're beautiful, but it'll show their scars as invisible to others as these children are.
Now, do you read or write poetry in your free time?
That's a really good question. I actually do a lot of songwriting in my own free time, and I feel like songwriting is also a very good way, it's poetry. It's literally poetry. So that's honestly what I do in my free time, is I write a lot of songs, and that's what I do, yeah.
And what do you love most about poetry or songwriting?
What I love most about poetry is the levels of meaning behind poetry. Is that when you first see poetry, you don't really, for me personally, I don't really understand it. But when I try to find the meaning, there's different levels of it, and that's what I really love about it. The different levels of poetry behind every meaning.
Absolutely. Let's give it up one more time for Miriam. Now, with the first round of the competition complete, we would like to invite our judge, Herbert Martin, to the stage to share his talents with us. He says, maybe or maybe not. And again, thank you so much to everyone for being here. Again, I know that it means so much to the students and their teachers, because their teachers are supporting them all year, but it means so much for you to come here and support their love of poetry and their love of the arts. And I know that we as performers also appreciate you supporting the next generation. So it's incredible, a beautiful thing. Thank you all for being here again.
I am not going to sing. And the reason is, so you will know, I last month turned 90. No singer that I know from the Metropolitan all the way to the hills of Kentucky sings at 90. And so you have to forgive me. Part of it is, I think that we stopped doing the vocalese. And that's why they don't sing anymore. There's a point at which the really great ones retire. Leontine doesn't sing anymore. I call her Leontine because she's likely not to come all the way from Mississippi to hit me over the head for calling her Leontine. Anyway, so that's the answer to that. All of those people really don't. They sing, but they sing in the house. And they sing so that all the inanimate objects can learn how to project. How to make sure that everyone in the audience hears you. My teacher swore at me once. And I've never forgotten. She said, "Damn it, Martin, don't the people in the back paid to hear you too." And I thought, goodness gracious, if they really did pay to get into this theater to hear me, they should hear me. And so I always say, "Can you hear me now?" Even if I step away from the mic and say, "Can you hear me now?" my voice goes all the way back to the window. It's part of this room. So if I don't tell you anything else, you've got to figure out how to project so that everybody hears you. Even if the microphone goes dead on you, that's when you really have to use all the breath and everything else that everyone has told you how to do, because they can't do it for you. That was the other thing my teacher said, "We cannot do it for you." And that scared the life out of me. So I am going to read you one poem only because I found it in my traveling case. And it's called, oh, I know what. I come to writing poems these days from my dreams and whatever else has happened. And I try to write in sentences so that you don't have to do anything but understand from the first letter to the period. That's not unusual because everybody from Shakespeare's time, I'm skipping Chaucer, quando in aprile it shower suta, without as marches, as spiritu ruta. And I learned that as well as spending a whole year with Chaucer. So I sort of learned them backwards and forwards. This is called Fugitive Advertisement. £5 for this runaway. This fellow is serious, civil, slow of speech, and rather low in stature. He reads well and is a Negro preacher. He's about 40 years old. His name is Mark. His wench is smart, active in politics and handy with a gun. She's a lusty woman with bad teeth and a mote in her left eye. Still, she is lovely to look at. She is lovely to look upon and is called Jenny. She has a note that says she is looking for a master. It is likely she may make a traveling passion of her travels. If you secure them or give them such information of their capture, I will reward you, and all the other reasonable charges will be paid. They are excellent slaves.
Thank you so much. Well, whether you are singing or speaking, I could listen to you all day, either way. Well, at this time, we're going to take a short intermission. We're going to come back here in about 10 minutes, and as a reminder, the restrooms are to your left and down the hallway on your left. So we will see you back in 10 minutes. Well, welcome back, everyone. We're definitely going to get back into the poetry competition, but first, Let's let our final judges share a little of their musical talents with us. Please welcome to the stage Tesha Mallory and Matt Shetler of the Nautical Theme.
Got me on the floor, and I can't help but feeling that it's been this way before. We have all the heat of fire without the comfort of love. Only way to tell what's come before is to feel what's been burned. If you thought that I was sliding, if you thought that I was low, you best check your expectations. How much further I will go, because once you stop believing, let's stay where you're wrong. The floor becomes uneven, and further you will go. We have all the heat of fire without the comfort of the world. The only way to tell what's come before is to feel what's been done. That we've lost hold of, all the world goes to the flame. Now that we've lost hold of, all the world goes to the flame. Well, you missed me on the ceiling, but you caught me on the floor, and I can't help but feeling that it's been this way before. We have all the heat of fire without the comfort of the home. The only way to tell what's come before is to feel. We have all that heat of fire without the comfort of love. The only way to tell what's come before is to feel what's been learned. Now that we've lost hold of, all the world goes to the flame.
Thank you so much. So my name's Tasha. We have one more song. Sorry. Sorry. That's what Jordan said. I'm just my name's Tasha, and this is Matt. We're the Nautical Theme. Thank you so much for being such an attentive audience. That last song was called To the Flame, and this next song is called I'm Not Ready, and these are both on an album that is coming out In 2024. They're not recorded yet, but they are coming out in 2024. Yes, the good stuff.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for anybody else to tell me something about who I am, to tell me something about anybody else. Searching for some type of understanding. Coming up, keep coming up, empty-handed. All regrets now have settled in what we have said and what we may have been. We're afraid of what we have held, what we have missed, and what missed us as we fell. Searching for some type of understanding. Coming up, keep coming up, empty-handed. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for anybody else. When you coming home? When you coming home? Oh, searching for some type of understanding. Coming up, keep coming up, empty-handed. I'm searching for some type of understanding. Coming up, keep coming up, empty-handed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, searching for some type of understanding, I feel like that line kind of struck me. I feel like that's kind of what brings so many of us to the arts in general. While Kira is making her way to the stage. So once again, we have Kira from Piqua High School. And this round, Kira will be reciting Luna Ma by Carl Phillips. Born in Washington, Phillips is now a professor of English at Washington University in St. Louis. In 2023, he was awarded a Pulitzer Prize for poetry for his work, Then the War, and Selected Poems, 2007 to 2020. Let's welcome Kira back to the stage.
Luna Ma by Carl Phillips. No I that sees could fail to remark you. Like any leaf, the rain leaves fixed to and flat against the barn's gray shingle. But what leaf this time of year is so pale? The pale of the leaves when they've lost just enough green to become the green that means loss. And more loss approaching? Give up. The flesh enough times and whatever is lost gets forgotten. That was the thought that I woke to, those words in my head. I rose. I did not dress. I left no particular body. Sleeping and stepping into the hour, I saw you. Strange sign, at once transparent and impossible to entirely see through. And how still. The still of being unmoved. And then the still of no longer being able to be moved. If I think of a heart, his as I've found it, if I think of increasingly my own, if I look at you now as from above and see the diva when she is caught in mid-triumph, arms half raised, the body as if set at last free of the green sheet that has, how many nights, held her. It is not without remembering another I once saw, like you, except that something, a bird, some wild and necessary hunger had gotten to it. And like the diva, but now broken, splayed, and torn, the green torn piecemeal from her. I remember the hands, and how small they seemed, bringing the small ripped thing to me.
Wonderful compliment. Yes, you have to stay because I want to know more about you. Okay, I have other questions, but I would like to know of the two poems that you did today. Tell me about one of them. What drew you to that particular piece?
My particular favorite is my second poem, Luna Moth. It's disguised in a story about a moth, but a lot of it resonates with a lot of grief with me, and it just really speaks to me in a lot of ways.
And what other activities are you involved in other than poetry?
Well, I have a part-time job at Least Famous Recipe here in Piqua. Other than that, I do a lot of poetry stuff. I work a lot, hang out with my boyfriend, all my brothers, and that's about it.
Do you write your own poetry, or do you mostly just love to read poetry?
I do write a lot of poetry.
Very cool, very cool. Let's give it one more time. And next, we're going to welcome Savannah back to the stage. From Christian Academy Schools, Savannah's second poem is Lincoln by Mikkel Lindsay. Lindsay is a nearly forgotten poet who still enjoyed some international acclaim. Declared easily the most important living American poet by the English Observer in 1920, he owed his fame to his spellbinding recitation style. He was also one of the world's first movie critics.
Lincoln by Rachel Lindsay. Would I might rouse the Lincoln in you all, that which is gendered in the wilderness, from lonely prairies and God's tenderness, imperial soul, star of a weedy stream, born where the ghosts of buffaloes still dream, whose spirit hoofbeats storm above his grave, above that breast of earth and prairie fire, fire that freed the slave.
what drew you to this particular piece?
I like that this,
Think about this for a second.
I like that it really brings out what Lincoln had, Abraham Lincoln. I feel like that spiritedness, there's a little bit of that in each of us, there really is. And some people, they don't see it in themselves or they don't bring it out, but if we were to dwell upon it and just search for it in each and every one of us, our society would further itself. We would just, as people, I think we would just be more joyous.
Now, are you also a fan of history?
Yes.
Yes, she is. And also, so would that be your other favorite subject?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, let's give it up again for Savannah. Okay, and now next, we welcome back Matthias. For his second poem, he will be reciting Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear, a poem by Mozab Abu Toha. I'm probably not saying that correctly, but you can, he's like sort of. Okay, good. He'll let it fly. He's forgiven me. Abu Toha is a Palestinian poet, short story writer, and essayist from Gaza. He's the founder of the Edward Said Library. In 2019 to 2020, he was a visiting poet and librarian in residence at Harvard University.
Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear by Mozab Abu Toha for Alicia M. Kesnel, MD. When you open my ear, touch it gently. My mother's voice lingers somewhere inside. Her voice is the echo that helps recover my equilibrium when I feel dizzy during my attentiveness. You may encounter songs in Arabic, poems in English I recite to myself, or a song I chant to the chirping birds in our backyard. When you stitch the cut, don't forget to put all these back in my ear. Put them back in order as you would do with books on your shelf. The drone's buzzing sound, the roar of an F-16, the screams of bombs falling on houses, on fields, and on bodies, of rockets flying away. Rid my small ear canal of them all. Spray the perfume of your smiles on the incision. Inject the song of life into my veins to wake me up. Gently beat the drum so that my mind may dance with yours. My doctor, day and night.
Now, I'm curious, I know that you said that you play music, and you also obviously love poetry. What are some of the other things that you love, like other subjects?
One thing I really love is mathematics. It's what I've kind of discerned right now as what I want to do. And I've just been really drawn to it. I've had wonderful teachers who have helped me understand it and have taught me, and I'm just really enjoying it. So that's, yeah.
So you're into liberal arts and you can also do math.
Yes.
You're going to rule the world at some point. What are your future plans other than world domination, like I just predicted?
Future plans, so currently I'm working, I'm this weird amalgamation between a freshman and sophomore at Sinclair, while also in my junior year of CJ. So my plans right now are to finish up my coursework for I want to go for my PhD in math. So that's my plan, and then I hope to work somewhere in NASA. That's my goal.
Amazing. Okay, let's give it up one more time for the team. And please remember me when you're working at NASA. We now invite William Chadwick back to the stage from Arcanum High School. Back to return with William's second recitation will be a poem, Battle Hymn of the Republic by Julia Ward Howe. Born in New York City to a banker father and poet mother, Howe was active in the anti-slavery and women's suffrage movements throughout her life. This poem in particular became a popular Union song during the American Civil War after being published in the Atlantic Monthly. William.
Battle Hymn of the Republic, Julia Ward Howe. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fatal lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. I've read a fiery gospel, written burnished rows of steel. As you deal with my contemners, so with you my grace shall deal. Let the hero, born of woman, crush the serpent with his heel, since God is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to enter him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea. With a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free. What, oh God, is marching on?
Now, what are your future plans?
Future plans. Well, I'm currently enrolled in Arcanum High School. I'm going for the CCP class, so short-term goals are to get my associates through Sinclair's College Credit Plus program by the end of the year. Don't know where else I'm going to go from that, though. I see where the wind takes me, I suppose.
Sounds like a good start. And what are you hoping to take away from this experience?
From this experience, I hope to get a better understanding of the world of poetry. I love it so desperately, and I've only barely dipped my toes into the big wide world of the manipulations of the English language. I love toying around with words.
I love that answer. Let's give it up one more time for William. Now, rounding out the final round of competition, we have Huda from Xenia High School. Her second poem is Welcome to Indian Country by Raina Priest. Priest is an enrolled member of the Lumi Nation and has a master's in fine arts. She is the recipient of multiple poetry awards and fellowships, including the Indigenous Nations Poets Fellowship.
Welcome to Indian Country by Raina Priest. Where is Indian country? It's everywhere we stand. It's anywhere we dance. It's where the earth loves the feel of our feet. Welcome to Indian country. What does that mean? It means this is where we lift our voice in song and make a joyful drum beat so our hearts can sing along. Welcome to Indian country. country, this beloved country here, where we honor our ancestors by growing stronger every year, by making laughter the answer that wipes away our tears. Welcome to Indian country. What does the future hold? In uncertain times like these, we reach for words like hope and things we can be sure of. Sunrises, beauty, and love. Welcome to Indian country. It's everywhere we dance and where the feast is truly grand. Welcome to Indian country. Now, give us back our land.
What drew you to that particular piece?
That's a very good question. What drew me to this piece was honestly like the way that the author wrote the poem. It was kind of like it's kind of like in a beat, in my opinion. And like what it really means to me, I know like what it really means to me is that like Indian country is everywhere we stand. It's nature. And that these Native Americans are accepting and they're willing to share that land, but when you are trying to steal it and take that land and claim it, that's not right because they're willing to share it. That's what drew me to it, yeah.
And what are your future plans?
That's a good question. So my future plans are definitely trying to go into the medical field, if not possibly the performing arts.
Very cool. Let's give it up one more time. Okay, so now we are going to take a quick break for scoring to be completed. We will return in 10 minutes. If you have not turned in your lines of poetry, please give them to our judges right away. Oh, he says no. You were all prepared and you all must have turned in your lines of poetry. Okay. I'll see you again in 10 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much again for being here. Thank you to our incredible performers this evening. Once again, we would like to invite Jordan Knepper to the stage.
How's it going, Eric? I'm about to talk about you. Thank you, Jamie. Let's hear it for our fabulous MC, Jamie Sloan. For those of you who don't know her, Jamie is a singer-songwriter from the Dayton area. Her work is soulfully country in its root. I recommend looking her up on iTunes, Spotify, all those other streaming platforms that I don't know how to use. Her new album, Dark Roots, was just released in 2022. That is the vinyl that was donated to all of the participants tonight. And Jamie's birthday was yesterday. I'd like to invite a few people to the stage. First, Chiquita Mullen-Lee with the Ohio Arts Council. Chiquita is one of 2 arts learning coordinators for the Ohio Arts Council and the Poetry Out Loud State Coordinator. I'd also like, while she's coming up, Deborah Allen, Sarah Fryer, Beth Marshall, Kathy Kubander, and Jennifer Burgess to come to the stage. I name off all the people at Ohio Arts Council, but there's so many of them now, I would miss somebody and then I'd get in trouble. It'd probably be Chaz. It certainly wouldn't be Dia, because she's the one that signs my checks. These amazing teachers, not Chiquita, these amazing teachers make this event possible. I'd like you to give them a huge round of applause. going to turn it over to Chiquita for a minute here so she can say some things on behalf of the Ohio Arts Council.
No, don't like. Sneaky teachers.
Hello, everybody. I fall in love with this program every time I come to one of these events, and I'm sure that you can see why after all the wonderful poetry and the beautiful attitudes. And then we got Jordan, who makes us look easy. Really do. All the details that go into all of this, it really is a labor of love. You know, this is the 19th year of Poetry Out Loud, and it just blows me away every year I think about how we just continue to roll on and roll on. The kids continue to enroll in this, and the teachers come back every year. We appreciate you so much. So I just want to say I'm happy to be in Piqua. I really am. I love to see what's happening. I can't wait to see who you pick because it's been a tough competition tonight. And finally, just to say about the West Central region. I don't know what's going on in West Central Ohio, but you all have had 5, I was thinking about it on the way up, you've had 5 students to advance to the state finals. And I think all 5 of them went to the national finals. So yeah, it's kind of impressive. So a hand to the West Central Ohio region. I hope such great things for all of you students. You're amazing. I heard the young man reciting and practicing in the hallway. He was from Jabberwocky. And I was tempted to say, oh, Frab, just stay. Kaloo, come Thank you all.
You know, normally I'd get on stage after somebody and their mic's like a foot taller than I am, especially Matt over there has me by a couple inches. So I like coming up after Chiquita because then I get to turn it back up to my level. There are just a few more thank yous that I want to make. Chiquita mentioned that we make this look easy. That's not really the case. I have a great staff working for me. So Rachel Abbott is our program assistant. And Daniel Kennedy is our graphic design, social media designer, all of the things involved in computer. I also have a fantastic board that backs us up. Tom Younts is here. Our accuracy judge, Joe Schaefer, is also on the board. And then a whole slew of other ones that you can find in your program as well. But without our board and without the staff, this event would not come together the way it does. So thank you to everybody. Back to Jamie.
And thank you, Jordan, again. I know that you mentioned this as well, but Jordan really does put a lot of work and thought and love into every event that Piqua Arts Council that he's manning, and we just really appreciate him, and he's an incredible human being. So let's also give it up for Jordan. Now, if we can have the contestants to the stage, please. Once again, thank you all for participating in this wonderful event. As a token of our appreciation for your participation, we put together these gift bags for you, and your names are on the back of them. Now, are you not proud of these young people? They are not mine, but I am so proud of each and every one of them because it takes a lot of courage to get up in a room, even at this size, and do this. It is harder than it looks, I think, sometimes. They make it look easy, but let's give it up one more time for these incredible contestants. And now, for the results. In second place and qualifying for the state finals competition in February, William Chadwick. And the winner of the West Central Ohio Regional Final for 2023, Huda Linksey. Congratulations again to all the contestants. We are so proud of everyone's hard work and dedication that went into this. Thank you all for coming. We would like the students to stick around for a minute for some photos Please drive safely, get home safely, and thank you again for coming to Poetry Out Loud.